Hello everyone, thanks again for stopping by on my channel. If you are stopping for the first time, Hardware Flipper here. I sell used stuff on eBay, monitors, desktop PCs, laptops. I sell them on eBay and on my website with the hopes of making a profit. And over the years, business have been good until the last weekend has been brutal. Guys, one of the things that you pretty much would notice when you become a reseller is that this journey is filled with ups and downs. Sometimes people just tell you, reselling could be such that this week you are balling, the next week things are just like falling apart. Sometimes when you hear these things, you do not really, internalize them until when you have to witness them yourself. Guys, one of the things I talked about why setting up this channel was that, look, no matter what, I'm going to be transparent with you guys. I'm going to give you exactly what is going on. Look, I'm not monetized on this channel, so I have nothing to gain when I come here to try to, sell you on something that is not a reality. You see, this reselling thing, a very beautiful business, a business model that you can actually, replicate, which is to go out there, buy stores that are, needed in the marketplace, and then you bring them to a responsible marketplace like eBay, whatnot, a Facebook marketplace, Amazon, if you sell on Amazon, and then you flip them for profits. It's a very easy business model, Do not let people try to complicate it for you. It is an easy business model. When you are lucky to find a very good source of inventories, you buy them, you bring them home. If you have the time, you have the energy and the patience to process them, you should be normally able to, sell them if you are offering them to the market at a very good price. This is where the business is. There is no complication. You don't need to have two heads to be able to pull this off. But the thing is, sometimes, even as easy as it is or as it sounds, it doesn't always work like that, because of so many factors. And these factors, they are hard to understand. Sometimes we think we have understood the factors why people do not buy stuff. You really tell yourself, I think I figured it out. Next time I'm not going to do this. You think you figured out everything, only for you to realize that the more you look, the less you see. There's still going to be something that's going to, shock you or surprise you and just get you thinking. Guys, this weekend has been brutal. And when I'm talking about brutality, things sold. I'm going to be giving you some few lists of the items that sold, checking them out. But this was a far cry from what I expected or what I have been doing in the last, the week before I went on holiday. When I was going on holiday, I was really scared of the fact that I might shut down my shop. And when I come back, I will not have the momentum that I had, let's just say 3-4 weeks ago, So when I went on holiday 2 weeks ago, I left my shop open because I was scared. I depend on the money on reselling to pay my bills, to meet some other commitments that I currently have in my life, So the listing I want to experience is a total loss of impression or total loss of transaction or sales. When it happens, it's not like the end of the world, but it might be a very, very stressful time. And this is what we call the roller coaster station, where you are expecting to make like 2,000 or 3,000 euros in sales, and you make absolutely nothing. See, that's not enough. Somebody even reaches out to you and tells you, look, from the little sales that you made, I want to return an item that cost about 416 or 420 something euros. I'm just going to check it up very soon. Somebody reached out to me and wanted to return a PC, a complete PC, monitor, desktop PC, keyboard, mouse, wireless LAN card. The buyer wanted to return it because for one reason or the other, the buyer keeps saying that the PC keeps chipping off, which I don't want to believe is a total fault from the PC. It might just be a certain thing, but buyer did reach out to me when I was on holiday. One reason or the other, I just kind of ignored the message because sometimes people reach out to you, they tell you that the thing is not working, and later on they figure it out themselves. But then 2 days ago, this buyer went on eBay and initiated a return, and this item is about to be sent to me, 400 plus euro transaction. That's bad enough, all right? But that's not a thing. But then the weekend was a total, cricket weekend. I was expecting some other few stuff to sell. I've got laptops listed. I've got desktop PCs listed. I've got monitors listed. But for one reason or the other, Of course, in all honesty, the reason is not far-fetched. People are on holiday, and when it is this time of the year, this is particularly August, is a time of the year where people just have a way of, leaving their homes. They want to travel somewhere. They want to, holiday. They just want to, spend time away from home. And yes, this is what people kind of call the summer slowdown. If you have been following reselling for quite a while, you must have obviously heard about the summer slowdown. You see, each year it's the same. And sometimes when we go through it, we are like, oh, we are happy that it's over. Sometimes we forget about the effects of the summer slowdown. And then when it comes again, it appears like this is the first time it's just happening. And sometimes when it happens like this, I tend not to think about it too much because I know it's just a phase. It's something that will roll away, but it doesn't remove the fact that it could be very, very stressful. Over the weekend, I was expecting a lot of sales. One thing about eBay, you are not entitled to any sale. You're supposed to bring your items, and you are not the only one bringing your items. Mind you, there are going to be other people also offering their items for sale. And we are all bringing our wares to the marketplace, and the buyer, in this case, the eBay customers are going to ultimately decide on which items, to click on and to click on the buy it now button. And for one reason or the other, if nobody's clicking on your item, nobody's buying, your item is going to sit. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have the worst item, but this is what it is. And for me, this weekend was particularly very interesting. Sales were down. I was kind of, taking a look, and I was just thinking to myself, what is actually going on? It's not like things didn't sell. As a matter of fact, if you take a look at this, some few items sold. A graphic card and MSI NVIDIA GT 710 sold for about 21 euros. This wasn't what I listed it for. I think I listed it for 22.90 euro. And somebody sent me, 22.90. And somebody sent me, a price request, which I quickly accepted, because when things are down, the worst thing you want to do is to continue to sit on the inventories that you have. This is what it is. This is one of the reasons why you are always advised, to buy your items, to kind of be careful when you buy items. Because when you buy items so expensive, there's just no way you can play this game. This is a graphic card that I just pulled out from a working PC. As a matter of fact, a lot of the accessories here were pulled out from working PCs, and there's actually no cost, associated with it, because the PC itself has already been sold for profit. So this graphic card now, the only expense I would normally have here is the eBay transaction fees, as well as the shipping costs. But then an NVIDIA graphic card also sold, Quadro K4000. This is a graphic card that I personally have. Didn't plan to sell it on eBay, but when I saw that the market was just going crickets, I felt like, I'm going to try to trigger the market by putting a very good item there, just lowering the price and ensuring that this would definitely pique the interest of anybody that will come onto eBay, and which really happened that way, because I listed it for 36.90, and if you take a look at the competitor's price, people were selling this thing for 49 euros, 54 euros, 69 euros. I decided to go for 36.90 just to test to see if people are still actually taking a look and looking for, good offers. And when it happened like that, I listed it and somebody did come around and bought it. And NVIDIA Quadro K4000, you can actually go ahead and check it up. And then I also had a PC. This PC here is a Fujitsu Extremo P758. I didn't really list it for so long because the PC actually had some signs of use, and this is not one thing I particularly want to sell, because I always have this idea of having the best items in the market. So when I receive items like this, and some of them, they have, terrible signs of use, I do not tend to sell them. I want to take out the parts and possibly sell them for parts, and then I can just go ahead and throw the housing. But when I saw that things were going south, I said to myself, definitely there's going to be somebody that's going to pick this whole a packet from me. It doesn't matter if the PC had scratches, signs of use. I'm going to list it, and I'm just going to, take the original pictures and list it, because something I normally do, I already have standard pictures for all these computers I sell. I do not tend to go and make individual pictures each time I receive a similar item. I just take from my database of pictures. I use it to post the offer. But this particular one, I need to go ahead to make pictures. I actually did show all the sides, where the signs of use were, so that whoever was buying it was not going to have a problem seeing the pictures before buying it. It sold for 109 euros. This was actually a giveaway price, and this case is sold immediately I listed it. I knew it was a giveaway price, but I wanted to push something in the market, because I don't know, since I came back from this holiday, things have been really slow. It's kind of coinciding with the time where there's summer slowdown. So I can't really tell for sure if, me partially shutting off my shop is actually, what is going on now, or it's actually the summer holiday, or even both. But I want to feel like because it's summer, things are just not going, right. And then the next item that I sold is also a Fujitsu Exprimo P758. This time around, a very clean one, normal standard. And in this case, I also used my standard pictures, as you can see right here. I use the standard pictures I normally use, for my Fujitsu Exprimo P758, and this sold for €269 and 33 cents. All right, this will be shipped out today or tomorrow, hopefully. And yes, this was a very good transaction. And when this sold, I kind of felt like, okay, things are kind of getting back to normal. This sold, I think yesterday. Yes, yesterday this sold. And then I was waiting that, okay, yesterday being Sunday, we still have a long time to go. This sold in the morning, but then cricket once again until a HP EliteBook 840 G5 keyboard also sold. This I also listed because one thing that you constantly hear is kind of a classical advice: when things are not selling on your shop, just list more so that the algorithm sees that you are kind of, busy. Because ideally, these are keyboards I have from laptops that were left behind. These are the laptops that have been sleeping on my dead pies for years. And once in a while, whenever things like this are happening, I just go there to pick up parts. And I picked up the keyboard from these laptops. I listed it, and one sold for 26 euro 90 cents, and it was the same strategy I used, which was to lower the price. This is a keyboard that people are selling for 50 something euros, 40 something euros, where I felt like 26 euro 90 will definitely pique the interest of whoever comes to eBay. Between yesterday, which was Sunday, to Monday, somebody's going to see it and somebody's going to buy it. Yes, it did sell, and it sold for a pretty decent price. Once again, these are not items that were paid for. These are items that I've already sold the original transactions. These were just the remains of, the transactions that have long ago been consummated. All right. And then a next one also sold the HP Elite Desk, a HP EliteBook 840 G5 keyboard, also sold for the same price, 26 euros and 90 cents. And then that was pretty much all. And yes, on one hand, I am highly grateful for these transactions. I think almost 400 euros. This is pretty much, low compared to what I typically tend to sell on a weekend. Because if I sell a particular PC, let's say I sell 4 or 5 PC on a weekend, talking about 1,000 euros, sometimes 1,500 euros. This is typical when you sell, computers and expensive electronics. Of course, when you sell clothing, books, and other stuff like that, 3,000 euros on a weekend might seem impossible, but for computers, laptops, the average sale price sometimes of this item stands by about 250 euros. And when you sell 3 or 4, you're already at 1,000 euros, which is not unusual if you sell, used PCs, used desktop, used PCs, used laptops, used monitors, and stuff like that. I'm grateful for these sales, but honestly, it's kind of difficult when things are not working the way it should. When people are not buying the items, then comes the question, how do you get money to pay your expenses? Because the expenses of a business doesn't go to the side and say, okay, things are not selling, let me just be on the side because things are not selling. No, the expenses will continue to mount. You still need to pay your rent, you need to pay your, buy gas for your car, you need to pay your telephone bills. And when it's happening like that, it puts a little bit of stress on the business owner. And this is what every business owner, tends to think of. In fact, 99% of the time, how do I make sure that the business is not short of cash? When cash flow is gone from a business, it's like you're removing blood, from the body. You are sucking the system dry. There's just no way the system is going to exist if a business is cash deprived. But then the beauty of entrepreneurship is that every new day, you always have a new hope, a new hope that things are going to get better. Because the moment you lose that hope, this is when you are saying, I want to throw in the towel. I don't think I can do this anymore. But if you still have that hope, you continue to tell yourself, doesn't matter. This weekend was very bad. I'm going to raise my head up and be positive, hoping that tomorrow is going to be better. And because of that hope, you're able to come to your warehouse, you're able to go to your garage, you're able to go to your, wherever you do your business, your storage unit and all that stuff. You're able to grab something and you're able to, list it, clean it up, and list it on the platform. This character is not for everybody. There are some people that will say, look, it's not working. I just want to go give up. I want to do something else. I'm going to take up a normal job, which is not a problem. As a matter of fact, I have actually made countless videos, encouraging you, to do your reselling business on the one hand and also have, a part-time job or a full-time job on the other side. So that if the reselling business is not, moving fast enough to be able to generate the income that you need to survive, then you are not cash strapped. You still have another source of income, which is actually coming from your job. It's just a smart thing to do. Yes, I understand that a lot of people are talking about you just giving your all to reselling. It's a good thing if you have a very comprehensive shock absorbing system, a system that will make it possible that you do not go broke, even when you do not get money from your reselling. But then it is what it is. This is a new day. It's Monday. We are going to be positive. I personally am going to be positive. I'm already here in the warehouse. First thing I have to do is to make sure that these items are shipped out, and thereafter go ahead, take a look at the things I can still list and hopefully list them, and hopefully, gradually push something somehow that even the situation of a summer slowdown will not negatively affect my shop. Definitely, I'm going to be reducing prices here and there. I'm going to be taking a look at some of the things I've listed. In those areas where I can actually, discount the prices of those items, I'm going to be doing that because cash must not be seen to dry up. It must continue to be cash heavy. If you are suffering this cash flow, it's not a good thing for the business. And whatever you can do to circumvent that, you have to do it. If you have to take some losses here and there, go ahead and do it, because this summer slowdown thing is just a phase. It's definitely going to pass away, and things are definitely going to return back to normal. Let me know what you think. How has it been for your business? Are you also experiencing this summer slowdown? If yes, please go to the comment section. Let me know about it. Let's talk about it. Perhaps we can just find ideas that will make it possible for us, to push our reselling business forward. Until I see you again in the next video. Peace.